Welcome, everyone, to our Bountiful City Council meeting on Tuesday, August 12th. We're grateful that you're here, and we will begin with a Pledge of Allegiance, and it will be led by Sarah McFadden.
Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and thank you, Claudia Lindeberg, for being willing to offer our prayer, our opening prayer for our City Council meeting tonight.
Our dear Heavenly Father, as we come before Thee on this beautiful evening, in this beautiful place, we're so grateful for the land that we live in, for the freedoms we enjoy. We're grateful for the mayor and the council members that serve us, and pray they will listen to the concerns of the citizens and that the citizens will be involved and support them. We're grateful for Thy Son, Jesus Christ, and pray we may be kind in all our doings with those around us, and that we may find the freedoms that we have to be important enough that we will support those who are helping us. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Thank you so much for that prayer, Claudia. Very nice of her to fill in last minute, so I appreciate that. The time is now yours for public comment. We'd love to hear from you. If you're here to speak, we'd love it if you would come forward, say your name and where you live, and you'll have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Bountiful City Council. My name is Neil Olson. I live at 343 West, 250 North in Bountiful. I've lived there 45 years. I'm a lifetime resident. I'm here to ask for your sympathy, or at least kindness, with the big problem that we have in our backyard. Regardless of zoning, there is a paint shop. It's called Direct Auto Collision. It's 440 North, 200 West. They have a very, very basic paint exhaust fan, and I think they have a very minimum filtering aspect to this exhaust fan. What we're experiencing as neighbors is a coating of paint particulate, including our vegetable garden, coating in our cars, even inside of our homes. I don't know how that happens, but they also release benzene, xylene, formaldehyde, VOCs, which is a very terrible thing for the environment. If it were a oil refinery that releases benzene, that is controlled by the EPA. There is a $10,000 per day fine if for a discovery of the release of benzene. I was there one time and I saw skull and crossbones on some of their paint solvent cans that were out front. They say that they do low viscosity. I don't know what the heck that is, but you can buy any kind of a paint product, and the better the paint product, the more VOCs, and the more detrimental it is to our environment. We've got neighbors that have had cancer, one on oxygen. We just need the air clear. Anything you can do, I appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to hear from anyone else that would like to speak.
That's a tough one to follow. Gary Davis, 2814 South, Bountiful, yeah. First off, I'm still a little amazed. A lawyer talking about mutual respect and trust being a good thing. I don't know. I don't see that in the code anywhere. Anyway, CERT, Community Emergency Response Team. Classes are starting up the 3rd of September. This is done in coordination with the Bountiful Preparedness Committee, group, whatever, that's here in Bountiful, and South Davis Metro Fire Department. So please sign up. CERT classes, Community Emergency Response Team. The first one will be the 3rd of September. There are 8 different classes covering a lot of different subjects. So should I talk for the entire 2 minutes? No, I guess not. That's all I got. Thank you for all the work you're doing.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Claudia Lindberg, 2057 Penman Lane. And it is a pleasure to be in this air-conditioned environment with you tonight, and thank you for your service. As I walked down 2200 South the other day, there's 2 empty spots right across from Dick's. And just around the corner, Mr. Byer is going to put in some more commercial buildings. Businesses, I don't understand how he's ever going to get anybody in there when we already have empty spots. So I'm concerned about that project. I do want to ask, when we get down to the Polaris thing, what that is going to be used for. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Janae Christensen. I live on 1102 East Lakeview Drive. I'm new to this, so bear with me. My kids have been trying to access their community, and they love it, but we have a few issues with them accessing it safely. There's a few ladder crosswalks that don't have sidewalks cut out for them to be able to cross safely, and then you have the light on Orchard and Fifth South that they can't access the button to be able to even push the button to be able to cross the road. And so there's just a few. Those two would be a very big thing to help them be able to access. There's a lot of other areas that are terrible, but at least if we could get 2 fixed, they could at least drive to Smith's and home. That's our favorite thing. Well, anyway, that's just all we have to say. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you so much for each of you for coming tonight and helping us be aware of these things. And now we will move to consider approval of the minutes of the previous meeting held on July 22nd, 2025.
Mayor, I have reviewed the minutes. They were great. I make a motion to approve the July 22nd.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And now, would you like to introduce our youth council rep?
I would, and it is a total pleasure to introduce Theo Holt, who's here tonight to give a report on the Bountiful City Youth Council. Theo is just one of the best, and he actually went to our the state convention with us, and that you have to really have an awesome participation and attendance to be able to go to the state conference. And he was a lot of fun. He's a good card player. But he is going to be a junior at Bountiful High this coming year. He runs cross country and is an amazing lacrosse player. So I'm really happy he's here to give a report on the BCYC.
Sweet. All right. This last month we had 2 meetings and then 1 activity. We had a general planning meeting where we're planning the upcoming activities for BCYC, and then we had a guest speaker, Caroline Wheeler. She's part of the Parks Department, and she came in and spoke to us about the different outside activities that we have in Bountiful. And then we participated in the Handcarts Days Parade, and we held a giant flag to end the parade. And everything is going good.
Thank you so much. Thanks for that report. Thanks for being involved. So were you personally at the parade and you were helping carry the big flag?
I was.
I heard it gets a little heavy after a while.
Yeah.
Thanks for being there. Thanks for representing us so well. Thanks for being here tonight. Okay, for council reports, we'll start with Councilman Higginson tonight.
Nothing this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilman Murray?
Was going through social media and was waiting for the report to come out, but I'm on the mosquito abatement, and it's not the most elaborate and exotic stuff, but I'm very appreciative for that department and their efforts to track West Nile virus and heartworm and for against dogs. Is that that's all leading indicators of problems with mosquitoes, and to have a group like that that provides that service for the county. They did release a report that the West Nile virus, they've had cases in West Bountiful, and there's 11 different locations that they monitor. So it's just a reminder that we're not quite yet out of mosquito season, but that is their goal, is to mitigate and try to keep West Nile virus to a low. So keep the spraying where possible. And if you have parties and other city engagements, I noticed they did this for Summerfest, but we do have, the mosquito abatement does have that service where you can go on their website, put the day of your event and location, and they will plan to come and spray in the evening time before your event. They'll come and spray for mosquitoes.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks for that. Councilwoman Price Hewish.
Thanks, Mayor. I want to just tonight thank everybody on the council and staff and so many people who were involved in kind of pushing forward the Get Healthy Utah, Healthy Utah Community Designation application, and especially our planning director, Francisco Astorga, who on the staff level has really spearheaded this and made sure that we had a really wonderful application, got it in on time by the deadline, so we're just waiting. We're crossing our fingers, waiting to see what will happen there. But there was a little bit of a lift there with getting our health committee formed, and it's just wonderful. As we met, it was wonderful to look at all of the things that are happening in the city that do point toward a healthier community, physically, mentally, emotionally healthier community. And I'm really glad that we live in a community that prioritizes that, and that we're a city that prioritizes that. So thank you again, Francisco. To that point, I just want to also thank the Parks Department and other staff who've been involved with the community garden. I just went over there today and got out of my car and walked around, and its progress is happening, and it's flat, and spigots have been installed, and I don't know if that's even the right word, but it's just looking really exciting. And I know that that comes with staff time and effort and the people who are behind the Gardens Growing Good community. So that is wonderful, and that is something that is also part of our Get Healthy or Healthy Utah Community application, which is wonderful. This is sort of like a little random shout out, but I want to tell everybody about another little gardening thing that I came across today. And I would encourage everybody, as you're driving around town, just pull over at the southeast corner of Orchard and 1800 South. There are these two wonderful gentlemen there who have planted. I'm sure you're all aware there's a big empty lot there. During the holidays, they have a nativity that's set up on that corner. But these wonderful gentlemen have planted this garden, and they are giving away the produce. But if you make a donation, all of the contributions are going to the Bountiful Food Pantry. And anything that they don't give away or sell, then they're taking to the food pantry. And they've got cucumbers and peppers and tomatoes, and the corn is coming on. If you've driven by, the corn is as high as an elephant's eye. And it's just so wonderful to see two individuals in the community just saying, let's do something awesome. And they did. They just went out and did it. So thank you to those wonderful individuals. And that's all, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I will just report that there's a Davis County loan fund for businesses. And so if you or someone you know has a business within Davis County that is it's kind of meant to be a gap fund where maybe you're not bankable, but you're on your way to being bankable, but they have low interest loans for businesses. And so it's a great opportunity for people within Davis County who may need help growing their business. The Davis Loan Fund is what it's called, and it can be accessed online, or you can talk to me. Councilwoman Child, do you have a report tonight? Oh, okay. She was joining us remotely, but had to get off, I guess. So Councilwoman Bradshaw.
Thanks, Mayor. One of my assignments is to serve on the board of the Bountiful Davis Arts Center. And the Arts Center just concluded Fest, which I know some of you attended. And Summerfest kind of closes out summer. I know, kind of sad trombone, but school is starting and summer's winding down. And it was a great event, and as I thought about the end of summer, I thought about just the thanks we owe so many of our community that helped put on all of these signature events. Starting with Chalk Art and then flowing into Coats for Kids and then Handcart Days and then Summerfest. It takes a tremendous amount of people to put on those events that we enjoy. Some of our city staff that are here are involved in all of those, from streets to parks to the police department, that are putting in tons of effort to make those things happen. Community volunteers and community organizations that give up so much of their time to put those on. Our own Councilwoman Child, who is deeply involved with Handcart Days. Councilman Murray took a volunteer shift at Summerfest this year to assist. And those are a lot of fun and enjoyment for our communities, but they just would not be possible without the community groups, the staff, and so many great people. So I was struck by that as we wrapped up that event, that thanks is owed to a lot of people for a really fun summer in Bountiful.
Well said. Yeah, thank you. That's great. We really appreciate all those volunteers and staff and all the work to have a lot of fun in Bountiful at summertime. So thank you. Okay, we will now consider approval of expenditures greater than $1,000 paid on July 16th, 23rd, and 30th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and now we'll turn the time over to Tyson. Tyson Beck, you have something fun.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor and members of the council. If it's all right, I'll come to the podium for this.
Great.
And Kevin, if you wouldn't mind coming to join me. So Mayor and Council, tonight, excited to present Kevin McFadden as the recommended candidate for our city council, for our city treasurer position. As you're aware, we had a hunter leave us. He was poached by our fire district, and we were sad to see him leave, but truly excited to have this opportunity with Kevin. We opened up the position and had 70 different applicants for the position itself. We narrowed it down to 10 that we looked to interview, and only ended up interviewing 9. We put them through the interview and a skills assessment process, and Kevin had to endure questioning and even a written test and an Excel test that we put him through. But we felt that Kevin is the best applicant and very well qualified for the position. Been working with Kevin now it's been 2.5 weeks, and it's been great. Really looking forward to the chance to continue to work with Kevin, and it is staff's recommendation that we appoint Kevin as the city treasurer. So happy to answer any questions you have, and obviously if you want to grill Kevin, you're more than welcome to do that as well.
Any questions for Tyson or Kevin?
Did you make him make pivot tables?
We did not have a pivot table in the example, but I was tempted for pivot tables, macros, have some fun with that. But no, we kept it fairly basic, but wanted to make sure that he was Excel literate, so.
I look forward to the charts he will generate for us.
We're excited to welcome you to the team. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so is there a motion?
Mayor, I'd make a motion that we approve the appointment of Kevin McFadden as our new treasurer.
Second.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, excellent. Thank
so
you. And now you're going to take care of the swearing in, is that right?
Sophia.
Okay, Sophia, our recorder is here to take care of the swearing in. Excellent, thank you. Congratulations, you are sworn in. Welcome, Kevin, and Sarah and your son are here with you, your family. That's wonderful. And thank you again for leading us in the pledge. And we're really grateful for that your family's here, and we're glad that you're here, Kevin. Thank you so much. Welcome to Bountiful City. Hope it's a great place for many years to come for you. Great, thank you. Okay, well, Kevin, we're happy to have you for as long as you'd like to stay, but we understand if you need to go. So thank you for your help, Sophia.
She means tonight, not career-wise.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks for that clarification. Okay, we'll now consider approval of a Class A retail beer license. Mr. Francisco Astorga, we'll turn the time over to you for that.
Thank you, Mayor. Sprouts is relocating to Bountiful, Utah, where Down East was as they left the city, and they're going through. They're about to get their final tenant improvement. They submitted their business license, and they would like to get local consent so they could sell beer at their store. As you know, that requires City Council approval. We recommend that you move forward with the approval.
Thanks. There's not an applicant here, is there? Okay, you're representing. Okay, I don't think there's any questions, but I just wanted to confirm in case you were here. Thanks for being here tonight. Yeah.
May we ask just is there an anticipated opening date? Lots of people are curious.
We'll get to your
They were in the
presentation.
office today asking about the final inspection, just about 2, 3, 4 hours ago. So
Okay.
they want to get going soon, I believe.
So what's your anticipated opening date?
Yes, hi, Erin Stone on behalf of the law firm of York Howell. I represent Sprouts in this matter. And I believe the anticipated opening date for this store is September 26th. So they're in the process of finalizing construction, build out, and this is just one step in the part of the alcohol licensing process as well as business licensing. And there's a plethora of licenses that a grocery store needs. So we're working on all those things.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really nice of you to be here tonight, and we'll just let Francisco kind of, give us a little rundown about the application, but nice to know that you're here if there's any questions. So,
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, you want to give us a little rundown about the application?
I think, just Sprouts, they're identified in the code as a grocery store. In essence, that's what they are, which is an allowed use within the zone. This used to be the old, to me, it'll always be the old Albertsons. I think it was something else prior to that. But Down East was there, and they're relocating to that location. We have their opening date. They're wrapping up their tenant improvement. They're wrapping up their business license, and this allows them to go to the state to apply for their local consent for them to sell beer from the store. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you so much. We're excited for Sprouts. It's going to be wonderful. Okay, and this next one, will it be Lieutenant Mike Sheldon? Is that right? Okay. Thank you for being here tonight. We will consider approval of a purchase of a replacement cooling tower. Welcome.
Mayor, thanks for having me. City council members, appreciate it. I know you really wanted to see Chief Beeler, but he's given me the opportunity to develop myself and talk to you guys today. So appreciate that, Chief. You've heard me say over the last couple of months, at least once, that most of our equipment's about 30 years old in our police building. The cooling tower is no exception. That cooling tower has deteriorated to the point of probably imminent failure. We did have one instance in this last month where the compressors failed and the cooling tower was not functioning at max capacity. Basically made our temperatures within our building go around 80 to 85 degrees. Our hardworking maintenance staff have found a Band-Aid fix for the time being, but that obviously is just a short-term and temporary solution. Due to the urgency of the situation, Chief Beeler consulted with the city manager, who authorized us to proceed with the replacement without city council's approval. This action falls within his authority outlined in the city code. And that action was taken to prevent any disruption for essential services. Johnson Controls is the current service provider for that equipment. Because of the sensitive time nature of that, we have contracted with Johnson Controls. The lead time is 8 weeks on that cooling tower. And their involvement in this reduces the risk of installation errors, shortens the timeline of the project. So we have selected them. Impacts, we do have sufficient capital funding that's been allocated for this project in this budget year. Our request from the Bountiful Police Department would be that the City Council ratify the decision to proceed with the replacement of the cooling tower by Johnson Controls. That amount is $101,680.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions from council?
Move to approve, Mayor.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and Lieutenant Sheldon, your next item as well about the boiler.
Yeah, I'm not going to be repeat or redundant. We are at end of life for the HVAC boiler system. This is a different boiler system than what was approved a couple of months ago. That was the culinary boiler. This is for the HVAC system. We recommend a direct replacement for this boiler. We've evaluated the current system, which is about 25 to 30 years old. That's about end of life for these boiler systems. Our current boiler is original with the building. We were able to go out to bid for these. We did receive 3 separate bids. One bid was in the amount of $208,000. One was in the amount of $192,000. And then we did receive a $134,867 dollar amount from Salmon Mechanical. We do have sufficient capital funding allocated in this fiscal year for this project. After review and evaluation of all the proposals, the Bountiful Police Department recommends that we receive approval from City Council to award the contract to Salmon Mechanical for the completion of the project. The total proposed cost is $134,867. That is a turnkey project, so that's for everything.
That's great, thank you. And it's nice that you could get some bids and get the low bid, and what other questions?
Mary, do you have a question?
Okay.
Because I know the lieutenant is excited to have questions and this opportunity to be with us tonight. Although I may let the city engineer take this one. It seems in my council service that the public safety building has had just a number of challenges, particularly with their heating and cooling systems. And on the last report, on the last item, it was important that Johnson Controls be able to maintain that system and get in there quickly to do that replacement. They are significantly higher than our low bidder. and always want to be thoughtful about the public's funds. But I also worry that we've put the police department in particular through a lot with a building that has had numerous challenges over the years. So the disparity between these bids and not wanting to make a significant expenditure that is kind of on the cheap, though I do want them to be cool. I'd be willing to buy them popsicles. Can you help me kind of understand the difference there?
Maybe a little historical perspective would be helpful. About 27 years ago, one of the very first assignments I was given was to assist in the replacement of the chiller in a basically brand-new police department building. So in my 28 years, yeah, there's been a significant involvement in the maintenance and replacement of systems in the police department, unfortunately. I haven't had an extensive time to review the proposals that were submitted. The chief and I did have a conversation about the equipment and what we felt was the best decision for this building. I don't think it's really an issue of compatibility between the boilers and Johnson Controls systems. I think that the salmon bid just represents a better value. Typically, Johnson Controls is fairly expensive for their equipment.
And I guess if you feel comfortable and the police department feels comfortable, who am I to question them, except for that I do want them to be comfortable in their building as they're doing this critical work, but it is quite a disparity in cost. So it felt like it was worth mentioning.
Thank you. Thanks for your thoughts. Okay, thank you very much. Do we still need a motion there?
We do.
Yes.
Okay, all right, sorry. Okay, what's the motion? Who would like to make it?
I'll make a motion, Mayor, that we award the contract to Salmon Mechanical for the replacement of the boiler at the stated price.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes, and thank you very much. Really appreciate you being here tonight. Now we will move to discuss the Polaris. Mr. Brock Hill from our Parks Department.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. How are you this evening? Hope all is well. I bring before you on behalf of the Bountiful City Cemetery a proposal to purchase a new piece of equipment that they use down there. I think just a little bit of background, I think you're fully aware of what they do at the cemetery. A few years ago, we changed the policy in the way that how many plots are required to have for an upright headstone. It was 4, it's now 2. We're starting to see a few effects of that policy change, in that some of the folks are selling back a couple of those plots, which allows them to put a headstone in, which is tightening up the space. The tightening up of that space between headstones and graves and all those things that are happening, we're starting to have to use smaller, narrower equipment. This piece of equipment that we are asking for tonight, it's used as a replacement for an existing piece of equipment they have, and they use it to transport tools and soils and personnel and equipment, protective panels over the holes, and it's kept within the confines of the property. So it's not something that we're out tooling around the neighborhoods with. It is something that, because of its narrow base, it's going to allow them to perform their functions over there and to do their jobs well and efficiently. We went out to bid for this. We did receive a bid under the Utah State contract for grounds maintenance and equipment from Young Power Sports, and that quoted price was for a 2024 Polaris. It is a model year younger or older, but we felt that it was still fine because it is a new piece of equipment for us, and it will do the job that is needed to do. That quoted price was $22,048, and it will be replacing an existing, like I stated before. This is something that we've been budgeting for in the capital equipment. So it is there. There are sufficient funds to cover the purchase that is quoted to us. Staff recommends the council approve the purchase of this new 2024 Polaris commercial diesel utility vehicle for the price of $22,048 through Young Motorsports and the state Utah contract for grounds maintenance equipment. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. So there was a question from the public, and I think that you went into it, that this vehicle is meant to be able to navigate smaller spaces, because now with the way that the cemetery is laid out, there's just, you have a smaller space that you need to get through when you're doing the maintenance work and all of the work that you're doing there. So is there anything else? That's kind of what it will be used for is.
Yeah, that's a pretty good definition. The other part maybe is that, just for folks that are in the audience, headstones are starting to move closer together as we start infilling some of those 4-plot areas. Now they're down to 2-plot areas, so those headstone starts coming in pretty close. It's hard to get in between those things, and so with this smaller side-by-side is really what it is. We're allowed to, or it allows them to get in between things much better without damaging things.
And so the employees can get around to where they need to at the cemetery and also be bringing tools and doing the maintenance that they're doing.
Yeah. As
there.
they're excavating grave sites, it allows them to haul the soil away and bring new soil in for backfills.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Mayor, if I may, I just, I really appreciated this report, the staff report, and I just wanted to publicly acknowledge Gino and his crew over there. They are remarkable, and probably second to our incredible snow plowing that people are constantly mentioning to me what a beautiful cemetery we have, how well maintained, and so thank you for the work that goes into that. And I do remember when we made this policy change, we weren't exactly sure how it would impact, but we agreed that this would allow people to have more options with the upright headstones. And so I think this is a good purchase, and unless anyone has anything else to say, I would move that we approve the purchase of the 2024 Polaris commercial diesel utility vehicle.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Thank you, Brock.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we'll turn the time over to our attorney, Brad Jepson, to consider approval of an interlocal cooperation agreements.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. We're asking you to approve 3 interlocals with Woods Cross, West Bountiful, North Salt Lake, in order to formalize our relationship where we provide dispatch services with those entities. I remember last year we did agreements with Centerville, Farmington, and Kaysville. These agreements are all very similar in nature with a little bit of difference, as every city attorney kind of tailored the wording just a little bit, but substantially the agreements are all the same, except each will be paying a little bit more money based on their call size. We've been doing this for quite some time. It's worked out. We're very proud of our dispatch and our dispatch center. So we'd ask you to approve that. If you have any easy questions, I'd be glad to handle them. If there's any difficult ones, Lieutenant Sheldon is here for career development.
Excellent. Any questions?
Mayor, I do have a question.
Okay.
So Brad, in these interlocals, as we're setting this annual fee, which is described in, I'm looking at the Woods Cross agreement, 3C. So it describes the fee in A, and then in C is where it talks about that the parties can adjust it annually, the legislative bodies can adjust it. But it didn't necessarily say that it was about call volume was the kind of the rate determiner. And, you know, at first as I was going back and forth, I was wondering, you know, how we were determining like a rate times the call volume to get to that flat fee. And I was just curious, should we be clarifying that more in that section 3? just since we're getting to the point of actually having these interlocals with the three entities, that, so that some future group of people are all aware of how we arrived at those numbers.
Well, I can ask the chief for some help, but I can tell you on the agreement, when I first got here and started working on the Centerville agreement, that one jumped out to me as well, and I visited with the chief and said, hey, what are we doing here? And chief said, I love the flexibility, and really, we've had a great relationship with these entities. We've never had any issues, and it's worked out where we, instead of building in a 3% raise or 6% raise per year, basically, it requires trust and the ability to work with our neighbors, but we've had a good history of this. And so as we forge these new agreements, I decided to keep it kind of on this basis. If the chief would like to talk about how he came up with those numbers and how we adjust those, or if he would like Lieutenant Sheldon.
I know, I was kind of hoping Lieutenant Sheldon would come up.
We haven't established our fees based upon call volume. That's not what it's done by. We've traditionally done it based upon what it costs to run a dispatch center, and then some population-based and stuff like that. So when we included Centerville as an example into our dispatch center, with consultation with Gary, how many more dispatchers are we going to need to provide that coverage, other equipment? Those are the costs that are associated with it. And then also as part of the agreement, we get the 911 fees that taxes that each entity gets. So it's not based upon call volume, it's generally based upon how much it takes to run a dispatch center. So each year during the budget time, we have regular meetings with the other users that participate in dispatch. And in the budget year, that's part of, again, a discussion that Gary and I have about what maybe our cost of living that we're going to be, our COLA that we're going to be giving for our employees, and use those types of formulas about what we would want to increase for the other entities. We talk about it with the other entities, and like Brad was saying, we have a great partnership with all of those other entities, and we've really never had a problem with them feeling like we're gouging them or any of that. We're just trying to get revenue based upon our actual costs.
Mayor, if I could follow up. One of the things I dearly love and appreciate is how well South Davis works together, and a credit to you and the entire department and predecessors that have worked to make sure that we have such great cooperation. So I don't want anything I might say to suggest that I don't think it's great, and that it's not something I feel proud to be a part of, that we work well together. So my next question would be, are we seeing natural growth in the 911 fees that helps? Because we have growth in costs, naturally from personnel or equipment. It seems like none of the equipment that we're required to have ever gets less expensive, unfortunately. And apparently it likes to be nice and cool over in your building too, in order to function
Unless
well.
you're a dispatcher and they run a heater in the middle of the summer as well. So it's a weird bunch.
So I'm curious if we're seeing, some, like in sales tax and other things, sometimes we're seeing that natural growth, and that'll help capture some of those things. And if we are, then maybe it relieves some of my concern. But I do have just a little bit of concern that maybe some of those natural growth costs, if we haven't even, short of a formula, said that they'll be based on just cost of personnel, cost of equipment, things like that, in either, well, and probably in Part C, it does seem like at some point, some future city leaders and police chiefs might question what we're putting into the loosely undefined formula.
It's a fair question. I personally don't see what the 911 tax revenue is. I don't know if Gary or Tyson or whoever actually sees those numbers. I only see what our user fees are that we charge to each entity and how that is applicable to the budget that I submit to you.
Does anyone else on the staff have 911 fee feedback?
Yeah, so with the 911, specifically for Yeah, so with each of the new cities that we've taken on with dispatching, we have come up with an agreement where we have been reimbursed by the state tax commission for that city's 911 tax. So we've tried to make the city whole by collecting all of the applicable 911 tax. So for instance, when Centerville became a dispatch by the city, we worked with Davis County and the tax commission to have that 911 tax redistributed to the city, rather than going to Davis County. And built into both the Kaysville and Farmington agreements was the stipulation that we would be completely, we would be able to receive all of those 911 tax despite that multi-year roll-in of based off of the call volume.
So when you look back historically at the cities that we've dispatched for longer, like Woods Cross, North Salt Lake, West Bountiful, and Centerville, since we have, I don't know, maybe 5 years of experience there, are we seeing that the 911 fee category has grown year over year in terms of what we are receiving?
And to that one specifically, I've not done any type of analysis to verify that based off of the additional city, our call volume has gone up by a certain metric, and then correspondingly that revenue has increased by that amount. It could be a good study to go into. Have not dedicated the time to it as of yet.
I think it's great that we're finally formalizing the agreements that we've had with the long-term cities. So I'm supportive of doing that. And I don't want to derail what I'm sure have been highly negotiated between the cities to do that. As we go forward, this issue of how we're making sure those fees that we're charging and the 911 taxes that everyone's paying on their phone bills cover those costs would be something in a future budget session I would love to understand better and think we just need to be thoughtful about so that we're not disproportionately carrying more on Bountiful taxpayers than we would ask our surrounding cities to pay to contribute to this really important, coordinated, awesome service.
Thank you. Good thoughts. Good things to think about in the future and good questions. That's great. And any other questions about this?
I was going to say, unless Lieutenant Sheldon wants to come up and.
Okay. Any other questions? Are we ready for a motion?
Mayor, I
Yes.
did this as one staff report. I'm going to need 3 different motions on
Okay.
this.
Okay, excellent. So we'll go in order A, B, and C, and we'll start with Woods Cross. So if council members are ready, we can.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve interlocal cooperation agreement between Bountiful and Woods Cross as resolution 2025-06.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded by Councilman Higginson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And the next one?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve an interlock cooperation agreement with West Bountiful Resolution 2025-07.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes unanimously. And the last one?
Make a motion to approve the interlocal cooperation agreement between North Salt Lake and Bountiful as resolution 2025-08.
Second.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you so much. Thanks for your help with that, Chief Beeler and Brad. We appreciate your work. And now for item number 13, we'll turn the time over to Lloyd Cheney.
Thanks, Mayor. Over the last 5 years, I'm sure you're all aware that UDOT's been planning a major project on the freeway to rebuild the freeway from North Salt Lake, or actually from Salt Lake City, 600 North to about Farmington, Park Lane in Farmington. As they approach the distribution of their selection process for a design build contractor, they're trying to assemble all the relevant information for their project, and they have requested your consideration of a couple of agreements. Now, this isn't all the agreements that you're going to see, but this is the first These are the leaders in the parade. So the first of those is the statewide utility license agreement. And basically what it covers is all of the local utility facilities that the city would own within the UDOT right-of-way, and it lays out our responsibilities for owning and operating and maintaining those. And UDOT's responsibility as the administrator for that. They're very excited to have us under the umbrella of the utility license agreement because we have successfully avoided that to this point, but I fear that our luck has now run out. Not that it is a bad thing, but like all agreements, these are prepared by UDOT in favor of UDOT, and if you read through it, you kind of got the feeling that where our position is in this agreement. They have always accommodated the maintenance work that we've needed to do with our utilities. We're grateful for that. We expect that that will be the continuation in the future, but they're anxious to have this signed agreement on the books. The second agreement is more specific to the I-15 project. Now, they have sent 2 separate documents to members of the staff. The Power Department also has a similar agreement that covers just the impacts to the city's electrical system. Most of that is along the frontage road in Centerville, where some of those transmission poles will be impacted by the reconstruction. So I believe the Power Department will bring that agreement to you for your consideration. The agreement that's in this staff report tonight, though, just reflects the other utilities that are owned by the city. So the culinary water, the storm drain, let's see, what else did I put in here? The fiber network. But it basically has some of the same language as the statewide utility license agreement. But I would point out a couple of things that are unique. Under this master agreement, UDOT's design build team would actually design any modifications to our utility system. And then staff would have the opportunity to review and approve. So that's good. We would get the chance to provide input on anything that is needed. Now, I think the risk of modifications to our system is pretty low because most of the impact is outside of where our utilities lie. But in the case where we come across something that needs to be adjusted, that's how it'll be handled. UDOT will also be responsible for 100% of the relocation cost because of these 3 criteria. Utilities that are owned by a political subdivision, so we check that box. If we are an exempt water supplier, which we are, so we check that box, or our utility is located in a public utility easement. Those are the 3 criteria which by state law, UDOT is responsible for 100% of the cost. So I think our utility systems like culinary and the storm drain, we're in good shape for that. I'd be happy to attempt to answer any questions you have. I think Brad has reviewed these a little bit. I don't know how familiar he is with them too, but between the 2 of us, we'll do our best to.
And then when we're ready, we want to approve these one at a time.
Yes, separately would be great.
Okay. Council, do you have questions about either of these agreements?
What if we
Mayor?
don't?
Councilman Higginson,
ahead.
please.
What if we don't?
That's a good question.
Yeah, did they leapfrog our part of I-15?
We don't have any.
We have that little bit by 500 South.
We do. Okay.
Just a portion of the city that sneaks under the underpass.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions?
I've got a question. There are a number of places in the agreement where it references city engineer or public works department doing inspection and review and design review and observation and a number of things. And so you answered one of my questions. Have we had an agreement like this in the past? And said, no, we've not. So we don't really have anything to kind of look back to, how they've been as a partner. But as you look at this, what do you anticipate the burden on city, well, on staff time will be? It seems like it could be onerous, but what are you anticipating?
I don't anticipate a burden near as great as the fiber project has been. I mean, most of the work for this project is outside of the city limits. They only cross into the city limits in a very few locations, and impacts on our utilities in those locations are minimal. There are a couple of storm drain outfalls, one by the Fifth Amendment, just north of the Fifth Amendment. There's an impact there. There could be some utility work in the intersection of Fifth South and Fifth West, which may affect us, but overall, what we've seen so far is very minimal impact. I really don't expect very much involvement from city staff to review or inspect adjustments to our utilities.
Thank you. Good question.
I would like to return to Councilman Higginson's question, which is, why sign it? If we've resisted and we've not had to give them so much kind of blanket authority, and what can they not refuse to do, or funding to pass through, or what are their hammers?
I could speculate a range of things, some of them would be absurd, but I don't know, to be honest with you. I suppose that they could withhold some permits for maintenance.
Is there any real issue with this agreement in your mind?
Not necessarily, except for the fact that it really doesn't impact us much. So why do we want to cede this agreement to them that gives them authority over our projects? They're not going to skip the little narrow strip of Bountiful City.
Right.
So why? Why do we cede this to them for essentially nothing?
So I have a question, I have a follow-up.
Please.
The power lines, so
Yes,
you
that's
mentioned
a
that this
separate
one
issue.
we'll have a separate one dealing with potential power issues. And some of those power poles are in Centerville. They're not in Bountiful, but they are critical to our system. Is that a reason to agree to this, even though, because we need them to be good partners in relocating those critical utilities that exist in a different city?
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense that we want to be good partners, even if we don't, even if this doesn't touch our city. There's just a lot of times when we're going to be interacting with them, like our Bamberger Bridge request, right? Where we want them to help us, and we want to be a good partner to them. So they're definitely a necessary partner.
This just seems to be the new method of UDOT working through these rather than community by community negotiations. It seems like they have decided it's easier to have a master agreement and between the communities. There are pros and cons to that, but I think it's their new model of business. And I think the short answer is really what the mayor's referring to, that we want to be good partners. We don't see anything that's really detrimental to us here, but being obstinate could affect projects that we need their help with, such as Bamberger.
And then my
It
last.
does seem,
I was gonna say, I have another question. This one should be much easier to answer. Many of our residents have noticed the closure of facilities on the West Bountiful side of 500 South, the two gas stations, and the Holiday Inn's no longer taking reservations. the UDOT website has stopped on its timeline of what it offers for the public to know when things are going to happen in the project. It just kind of gives an end date of where we are now of assembling properties, permits, all of these things. So my question is, how far out are we from seeing construction begin?
So we had a Teams meeting with them today, and they again reiterated part of their schedule. They're preparing their package for distribution to contractors, and then they'll evaluate those and select the design builder. The selection will be probably in fourth quarter of this year. I think they said November. Construction's expected to start next year. I don't know that we heard a month, but it was a 2026 start. It's going to take them a few minutes to spin up and come up with final design work. UDOT has kind of put together the preliminary horizontal alignments, not so much the vertical portions of it, and that's going to be the major function of the design builder to do that.
And I do suppose that the minor inconvenience of having the freeway reconstructed will probably serve our residents much better to have it reconstructed and get where they need to go, so.
We'll hope that this will be the last reconstruction for a long, long time. One can always hope, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know how that correlates with our 2 seasons of road construction and winter.
I'll just find another road.
Okay,
Mayor, if
yeah.
I just, as I read through this, I felt like there were a lot of places in the agreement where we have a lot of opportunities. I guess I was looking at it differently. I thought there are a lot of opportunities for timelines where they're going to give specified timelines for review and comment periods and inclusion of the city council on project deadlines and timelines and the payment, how things will be paid, and the ability to inspect and look at the third party work well in advance of it taking place. So I hope that I would agree that, you know, UDOT is an essential partner. We're a city that lives right on the I-15. So I'm optimistic and hoping that they will continue to be a great partner throughout this process, and that we'll be taking advantage of all of these opportunities to review and consult and give our input, and hopefully without too big of a burden on your department.
Yeah, I think realistically it'll be fine.
I'm glad. That's reassuring. Yeah. Okay, council, are you ready for a motion?
We do both?
One at a
separately?
time, yeah.
Since I have helped pile on about UDOT, I will make one of the motions.
Thank
Make
you.
a motion to approve the statewide utility license agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and the next one?
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with UDOT for the Bountiful City Master Agreement.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Thank you so much. And before we adjourn, I don't believe so we discussed accessory structure height in our work session, and I don't personally believe that we need to have another work session, but I wanted to confirm with the council. Are you okay if staff brings us an ordinance that is outlining 8 feet setbacks, 25 feet height maximums, and 20 feet sidewall maximums? Is the council okay with that?
I am.
As long as the height maximum is roof line.
Yes, that's understood. Good. Okay, yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Councilwoman Bradshaw?
I was really looking forward to some more charts.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm sure there will be
survived.
more charts.
We will have charts.
Yeah, don't worry about that. There's always charts. Okay.
May I just ask Lloyd a quick question before we adjourn? When do you anticipate the power company agreement will come with UDOT? When will that be?
I know that Luke and Mr. Johnson and Mr. Farnes reviewed that late last week. I'm assuming that it's going to come at the next city council meeting, but I don't know that for sure.
Okay, thank you for that. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.